Hello, New Hampshire. I'm Mike Pence. I'm from the great state of Indiana. 3 months ago, with my wife at my side, it was my privilege to accept the Republican Party's nomination to run and serve as the next Vice President of the United States of America, and it's a joy to be with you all. I'm truly grateful for the support and the example of Governor John Sununu, everybody. Isn't he amazing? One of my heroes, a great mentor, and the father of the next great governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu. But I have to tell you, he knows me well enough to know the introduction I prefer is a little bit shorter. I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican, in that order. And I got to tell you, we are just 18 days away from a great victory all across the state of New Hampshire and all across the United States of America. And I got to tell you, I joined this campaign in a heartbeat. Because you have nominated a man for president who I just hung up the phone with on his third huge rally of the day. He's in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you what, I've gotten to know him, and you know him. He's a man who never quits. He never backs down. He's a fighter. He's a winner, and until not too long ago, it seemed like he was out there fighting all on his own, but now this movement is coming together. New Hampshire is coming together, and we're going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States of America. I'll tell you, the enthusiasm for this movement is just contagious. And seeing you all here tonight in this warm and cozy place, it's very humbling to me and my wife. I mean, I know I'm really not the main event, so thank you so very much for coming out for us tonight. It's very, very meaningful to me. But I think it's emblematic of the fact that what my running mate says to me all the time. He says, Mike, this is not about me, it's not about us. He says, this is a movement. This is a movement of the American people, and the American people are going to make America great again. But you know, I like to say Donald Trump literally embodies the spirit of this country. Strong, freedom-loving, independent, and willing to fight every day for what he believes in, and he's going to fight every day as president for the American people. You sure saw that in that thriller in Vegas the other night, didn't you? When he beat Hillary Clinton hands down in the third presidential debate. Wasn't that great? That was a big night. It was really exciting. And I got to tell you, we had a little debate of our own down in Farmville, Virginia, in the vice presidential contest not too long ago. And I want to apologize. I'm running a little bit late tonight because we stopped for dinner at Popovers, and Senator Tim Kaine called and interrupted me 10 times. You know, some people think I won that vice presidential debate over in Virginia, and I thank you for that, but I've got to tell you, from where I was sitting, Donald Trump won that debate. Just like he did this week, just like he did the other two. Donald Trump's vision for America won that debate, and Donald Trump's vision to make America great again is going to win all the way to the White House. Because, you know, at the end of the day, this isn't just a choice between two people. I think what you saw in high relief on that stage in Las Vegas it's really a choice between two futures, if you think about it. And let me tell you where I stand. I choose a stronger America. I choose a more prosperous America. I choose an America that honors and upholds the principles of the Constitution of the United States of America. So I choose to stand with Donald Trump and every American who knows we can make this country great again. Because, you know, it's not like it's exactly a fair fight out there. You know, I mean, literally, ever since I joined this ticket, I get up in the morning, Governor, I got to like turn on the television with a stick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what's going to be on there any given, I mean, really and truly. I mean, the party in power doesn't know what to make of my running mate. And of course, I'm talking about the media. Right? But I mean, you just saw it this week. You know, he absolutely wins this 90-minute debate outright, and they go running after one sound. Look, like 5 words. They go running after the next morning. You know, taking those words, and then they got a tweet over here, and they got this and that. Then they wake up the next morning, and Donald Trump is still standing stronger than ever before, and he's going to fight all the way to the White House. It really is amazing. I mean, the mainstream media out there just goes after one attack after another on my. It's like 2-on-1 every day. It's like if the Patriots had to play every game on the road against hometown refs and a hometown crowd. You still don't think that'd make a difference, do you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Don't gloat. Don't gloat. But the truth is, it is amazing to watch, really and truly. After they chase after every individual, every tack seems every day it's a new one against my running mate. They ignore this avalanche of scandals coming out of the years of the Clinton Foundation, the Secretary of State. So I thought I'd help them out tonight and see if I can catch you up. That be all right? I mean, really, the front page of USA Today, this was pretty fresh, just a couple days ago. USA Today says, the nexus among the private companies of Hillary Clinton's State Department and the Clinton Family Foundation is closer and more complex than even Donald Trump has claimed so far. Well, thanks for catching up, USA Today. They actually went on to say that, listen to this, there were a dozen companies that gave money to the Clinton Foundation, who also, those companies lobbied the State Department while she was Secretary of State, and the lobbyists they hired were people that were raising money for her presidential campaign. Then you heard the Freedom of Information Act that found out that when the United States was going through that effort to rebuild Haiti after that terrible earthquake back in 2010, now we found emails that came out, these came out from Freedom of Information requests that found that Hillary Clinton's aides at the State Department were literally saying that businesses that wanted to be involved in the reconstruction should be flagged if they were friends of the Clintons. And other businesses should just go to the website. You know, and then the big one last week is that the FBI actually confirmed that the State Department, stay on this, the FBI actually confirmed that the State Department offered a quid pro quo to the FBI if they would change the classification of documents, one of which had to do with Benghazi, and that were on her private server. You know, Donald Trump laid out a plan the other day, a 5-point plan for fundamental ethics reform in Washington, D.C., and we're going to drain the swamp when Donald Trump becomes president of the United States. It's got to stop. I mean, things like a 5-year ban on executive branch officials lobbying the government, and my personal favorite, how about campaign finance reform that prevents registered foreign lobbyists from raising money for American political campaigns? We're going to drain the swamp. So, I mean, if only to ensure that we have the highest standards of ethics in the highest office in the land. New Hampshire, let's decide here and now that Hillary Clinton will never be elected President of the United States. You do that? Because the truth is, this election is about bigger things than her small ethics. It really is. And you saw those issues come out on the debate the other night. But I want to talk to you about those. Because the truth is, as the hem and haw and there's more emails coming out tonight, I'll mention a couple more before I get off the stage. The truth is that the issues in this election come a whole lot closer to our hometowns, to our streets, to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, to our very kitchen table and our children's future than maybe any other election in my lifetime. And we need to talk about it. It's about security, it's about prosperity, and it's about the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Let's start with security. Despite traveling millions of miles as our Secretary of State, the world is more dangerous today than the day that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton took over the foreign policy of the United States. It's undeniable. Our allies are less secure, our enemies are more emboldened. 7.5 years of a foreign policy designed by Hillary Clinton has weakened America's place in the world and literally emboldened our competitors and emboldened our adversaries. The truth of the matter is that all you need to look at is a map of the wider Middle East and the Arab world. If you took a picture of the day these people took office, took over American foreign policy, and you took a picture of that part of the world, today it wouldn't even look like the same place. I mean, literally, countries coming apart, civil war, the rise, rule, and reign of the terrorist organization known as ISIS. It really is incredible. History teaches us that weakness arouses evil. And I would submit to you that the weak and feckless foreign policy of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, of moving red lines, feigning resets with Russia, and paying ransom to terrorist-sponsoring states is emblematic of that type of weak foreign policy. Let me make you a promise. When Donald Trump is president of the United States, we won't be paying ransom to terrorist-sponsoring states. They'll be paying a price if they threaten or detain the American people. But remember this, it was Hillary Clinton. It was Hillary Clinton who actually instigated that disastrous agreement with the radical mullahs in Iran. They got $150 billion, $1.7 billion in cash, and all we got back was a promise of a delay in the leading state sponsor of terrorism obtaining the most dangerous weapons in the world. And it was all happening at a time that we were treated with images of the Iranian Navy with American sailors last January on their knees with their hands on their head. Remember, it was Hillary Clinton who failed to negotiate what's called a status of forces agreement in Iraq. So all the American forces were required to come out of Iraq by the end of 2012, literally creating a vacuum in which the terrorist organization known as ISIS was able to rise up and compromise vast areas that had been won by the American soldier in Operation Iraqi Freedom. You know, in my years in Congress, I traveled downrange to visit our soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan every year, 10 years in a row. More poignantly, Karen and I have stood at the graveside of brave Americans who paid the ultimate sacrifice. It's important to remember that through those difficult days in Iraq, the American soldier, by the end of 2008, had won the peace and security of our ally in Iraq. They had won in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Before I go one step further, I know there's men and women who have worn the uniform in recent years and in the distant past. If you can stand, would you stand? Otherwise, raise your hand if you've worn the uniform of the United States. Let us thank you one more time. Thanks for your service. It just breaks my heart to think what the American soldier won was squandered by the foreign policy of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And at this very hour, with our prayers for them, we have some 5,000 American Special Forces outside Mosul preparing to win back what had already been won before this administration took over. It truly is extraordinary. And lastly, it was Hillary Clinton. It was Hillary Clinton and her State Department who left Americans in harm's way in Benghazi. And after 4 Americans fell, She actually told the parents of those 4 fallen that it was because of a filmmaker in the United States. When Congress would find out that she emailed her own daughter the night of the attack, it was September 11th, the night of the attack, and said that it was an Al-Qaeda-style terrorist attack. And now this just came out today. I don't know if you'll see it on the evening news, but one of these emails just came out. When her staff was preparing her for testimony, for an opening statement before the Select Committee on Benghazi, one of them actually mentioned in the email that she shouldn't focus too much on the, quote, 4 guys who were killed. Well, those were not 4 guys. Those were 4 American heroes. When she was questioned about the reasons for the attack, she actually said of those 4 American heroes, quote, "What difference at this point does it make?" Well, let me tell you, as the proud father of a United States Marine, anybody who said that, anybody who did that, should be disqualified from ever serving as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. I mean it. I mean it. We cannot have 4 more years apologizing to our enemies and abandoning our friends. For the world to be safe, for our people to be safe, America needs to be strong. And Donald Trump will lead on the world stage with American strength. When Donald Trump becomes president, we will rebuild our military. We will restore the arsenal of democracy. We will provide our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines with the resources and the training they need to accomplish their mission, and we will hunt down and destroy ISIS at its source. That's probably why today more than 200 retired admirals and generals, including more than 20 Medal of Honor winners, have named Donald Trump as their choice to be the next Commander-in-Chief of this country. You know, it's not just about security abroad, it's also about safety here at home. You know, I stopped by, we went through Epping on the way here, and I stopped by the public safety building. Stopped by and saw some of your first responders, firefighters, and police, just to thank them. It's a very challenging time for people that wear the uniform of law enforcement these days. It seems like when tragedy happens in the wake of a law enforcement officer doing their job, there are too many in the media and too many on the American left that are quick to use a broad brush to demean and denounce all law enforcement. Some of them say that they're a force for division in our country. Well, Donald Trump and I know law enforcement in this country is not a force for division. They are a force for good. They are the best of us. Would you mind showing the police officers who are here today just how much we appreciate the job they do for our families? You mind getting on your feet? Let me make you a promise. When Donald Trump becomes the chief law enforcement officer of the United States, we'll have a president who will support law enforcement at every level. We will provide the resources that they need and the training they need to protect our families, go home safe to theirs, and we will restore law and order to every city and every community in the land. You know, that's probably why Donald Trump was just endorsed by the 330,000 members of the Fraternal Order of Police nationwide to be our next president. So it's about security at home and abroad, but it's also about our prosperity. I can tell you right now, any progress we've made in Indiana, Any progress you made here in New Hampshire, I promise you, is in spite of the policies of liberal politicians, not because of it. That's why y'all need a new governor. Will you just show this governor how determined we are to make sure Chris Sununu is elected governor of the great state of New Hampshire? It'll work. Guys, you got to go get it done. You got to go get it done. It's the right leadership in Washington, D.C., and as we've shown in the state of Indiana, you have common sense, conservative leadership at the State House, and you're going to see New Hampshire come roaring back. But the truth of the matter is we're in the midst of the weakest economic recovery since the Great Depression. Lowest labor participation rate since the 1970s. Hillary Clinton's plan, more of the same. Sometimes I hear that. People say to me, well, Hillary Clinton just wants to run for Barack Obama's third term. A lot of truth in that. But it's like Barack Obama plus. I mean, she wants to raise taxes by $1 trillion. She goes up to Canada and gives one of these big paid speeches, and she tells some Canadian audience up there that she wants a Canadian-style healthcare system. It's socialized medicine. She goes down and gives a speech in Brazil and said her vision is for a common market and open borders in America. And she just sees Obamacare as a good start. I mean, the truth of the matter is, they tell us this economy is the best that we can do. But I think the people in New Hampshire know better. It's nowhere near the best that we can do. It's just the best they can do. And when Donald Trump becomes president of the United States of America, we're going to get this economy moving again by putting common sense, conservative principles into practice. I mean, it's what Ronald Reagan did back in the 1980s. Frankly, it's a lot of what President John F. Kennedy did in the 1960s. It's about less government, less taxes. More economic freedom means more growth and more prosperity. And I'll tell you what, right now, Donald Trump's got a plan. Donald Trump's got a plan. I mean, when we re-elect Republican majorities in the House and the Senate, and I want you to re-elect Senator Kelly Ayotte from New Hampshire. We need Republican majorities in the Senate. We're going to cut taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms. We're going to get rid of death taxes once and for all, and we're going to lower business taxes in New Hampshire so that businesses here in this state can create jobs here and not see them shipped overseas. And because Donald Trump and I know that regulation is a form of taxation, we're going to have a moratorium on any new regulation on day one of the Trump-Pence administration, and we're going to repeal every single Barack Obama executive order that's stifling jobs and growth in this economy. Let me do it. And when Donald Trump becomes negotiator-in-chief, you with me on this one? We're going to have trade deals that mean jobs, but trade is going to again mean American jobs first. We're going to renegotiate NAFTA. We're going to get out of this TPP thing, and we're going to look to develop trade with nations around the world that puts the American worker and the American economy first. And when it comes to energy, day one of the Trump-Pence administration, the war on coal comes to an end. We're going to have an all-of-the-above energy strategy that develops all the resources of this land. And we're going to drive an American recovery with American energy. And lastly, we're going to pry off the back of this economy that profoundly big and bad idea that was introduced under this administration, the so-called Affordable Care Act. AKA Obamacare. Now, did you hear what the president said yesterday about it in Florida? I'm not even making this up. President Obama, Google it later, you can just trust me. On the third anniversary of the rollout of Obamacare, which went so well. Remember, the president actually said yesterday in Miami, He compared Obamacare to the Samsung Galaxy 7 telephones that spontaneously burst into flames. Here's what he said. Quote, I'm sorry. He said, when one of these companies comes out with a new smartphone and it has a few bugs, what do? They fix it. They upgrade it. Unless it catches fire, then they pull it off the market. Well, Mr. President, that's just what we're going to do. We're going to pull it off the market. We're going to work with the Congress, and we are going to repeal Obamacare lock, stock, and barrel. And we're going to replace it not with the socialized medicine that's Hillary's long-term goal, she said at that Canadian speech, right? We're going to replace it with the kind of health care reform that lowers the cost of health insurance without growing the size of government. We're going to use the power of the free marketplace, give consumers more choices, respect the doctor-patient relationship, and allow the American economy to meet the health insurance needs of the For the sake of the sanctity of life, for the sake of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, for the sake of all the God-given liberties that are enshrined in our Bill of Rights, New Hampshire, here in the Granite State, you must decide here and now that the next president who will make appointments to the Supreme Court of the United States will be President Donald Trump. But let me see if I can wrap up. And I think I've already sweat off 3 or 4 pounds. You all are great to be here. Give yourselves another round of applause. We're so impressed, so grateful, so humbled. Thank you. My challenge to you is to go out and fight the good fight in the next 18 days. I mean, what a privilege it is to be an American. What a privilege it is to have the future of your nation in your own hands. I mean, the American people are going to make this choice. But now it falls to you. It really does. So I want to give you a couple of assignments if I can. Number 1, I want you to leave here today and I want you to go tell somebody. Okay? I mean, the truth of the matter is, I just saw another national poll come out. 3 national polls in a row show that Donald Trump is leading across the United States of America in this contest for president. 3 national polls. And that's despite And that's despite the fact that it's like the monolithic opposition of the national press. Can I just thank Governor Sununu again? He gets on television and squares his shoulders as a conservative like nobody else in America. Thank you for taking the case and taking the cause. Thank you so much. But I honestly think why the momentum that we have in this campaign, the unrelenting momentum. I saw it again last night in New Mexico. I was in Albuquerque last night. I was in Reno yesterday. I'm in New Hampshire today. Yeah, it's a big country. But it's a privilege for us. But I sense this enthusiasm. And I think it's because the American people are talking to each other. I mean, it's, whatever the political class says, whatever the media class says, I think people are stopping over backyard fences, I think at places of work and worship, and they're talking to each other. So number one is I want you to go tell somebody. The old book says it's important sometimes to pay more careful attention to what you already know. I hope you came here tonight to pay more careful attention to the stakes in this election. When you're talking to somebody, just say, I saw Mike the other day, and he told me this. I remembered what he said. That he said, this election is not a choice between left and right or Republican and Democrat. It's like President Reagan said in 1964. This is really a choice between up and down. I mean, think about it. When you're talking to your neighbors and friends and coworkers, you just need to say to them, this is a question of whether, are we going to continue to go down the hill to a weaker America at home and abroad, a weaker American military, an apologizing American foreign policy, a weaker and stifled economy with more government, more taxes, walking farther away from our constitutional ideals and highest principles, or whether we're going to stop as a nation, plant our feet, turn around, and march back up the hill to a stronger America at home and abroad, an America that upholds our highest traditions and ideals. That's the choice. It's whether we're going to make America great again. But the pathway to making America great again is back up. And it's going to require change. So that's the first thing I want you to tell people. Go tell somebody. Secondly, there's a lot of, you got to remember the price of freedom, the price of a democracy is, the price of an honest democracy is vigilance. So I want you to be involved. If you've come to a rally tonight and you've not yet taken time to volunteer at a phone bank, I stopped, I was in another town here in New Hampshire just a little bit ago. And phone banks were ringing off the hook. Everybody was working their hearts out. If you haven't yet taken time to go knock on some doors, make some phone calls, go do that. And I also want to say to you that as the media was criticizing my running mate this week for actually suggesting that voter fraud happens in places in America, don't kid yourself. Voter fraud is real. The truth is, the right to vote is the bedrock of our democracy, and it's been bought at too high a price for all of us, Republicans, Democrats, and independents, not to do all we can to participate in a process to ensure that every vote counts and every vote is respected. So I want to say to you, if you're here at this rally as well, if you haven't volunteered to help in the next 18 days, go volunteer to help. But if you haven't volunteered to work on Election Day and provide that kind of respectful accountability that our state-governed elections operate, I encourage you to do it. I truly do. Let's make this Election Day a victory for our team, a victory for our movement, and a victory for American democracy. So tell somebody, get involved, and maybe do one more thing if you're of a mind. Karen and I and our daughter Charlotte is around here somewhere. She's traveling with us a lot. I think she's hiding out back. She just graduated from college and she has a job. Amazing kid. I'm so proud of her. Go to Glamour magazine. She's got like a column about her dad. That's the last time I'm ever going to be in Glamour magazine, I promise you. But I would just say to you, from our little family to yours, one more thing. If you're in these challenging times, these times of division and dissension widening threats in the world, a nation's capital that seems incapable of tackling the big problems that we're facing as a nation. If you're inclined to bend the knee and bow the head, now's a good time to do it in the next 18 days as well. As you go put the shoe leather on, you go out there and fight the good fight, telling your neighbors and friends, getting involved in the electoral process in every appropriate way. If you're so inclined, I encourage you to pray for our country. I really do. I'm not... And somebody told me Abraham Lincoln gave a speech in this very same building many years ago. You know, Abraham Lincoln grew up in the state of Indiana. It's a source of pride for us. I rather like what Abraham Lincoln said about these moments. I'm not even asking you to pray for any one particular political outcome or party or candidate. I'm just telling you to pray for this country. I mean, Lincoln was asked once if he thought God was on his side, and he said he concerned himself more with whether or not we were on God's side. And that's the right attitude. So I encourage you to avail yourself if you're of a mind. I think what's true for thousands of years is still true today. That if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, he'll do like he's always done throughout the storied history of this nation. I believe he'll hear from heaven and he'll heal this land. This one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So New Hampshire, the choice could not be more clear. It's change versus the status quo. It's up versus down. Americans can elect someone who literally personifies a failed establishment in Washington, D.C., or we can choose a leader who will stand strong at home and abroad and fight every day to make America great again. So my challenge to all of you tonight, leave here today determined to do everything in your power to bring New Hampshire home for this team. Bring New Hampshire home for the Trump-Pence team. Bring New Hampshire home for the next governor of the state of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu. Bring New Hampshire home for great Republican leadership in Washington, D.C. And I'll make you a promise. I heard it in his voice just a few minutes ago again. That man is ready. This team is ready. This movement is ready. If you go make sure that New Hampshire is ready, we will make Donald Trump the 45th President of the United States of America, and we will make America great again.